welcome back to Farm Girl Diaries. It is early in the morning, it's about 8:30, and I want to get out here and harvest. I have broccoli that I just harvested, a whole big basket of broccoli, and I want to harvest some peas. And I wanted to get out here before it got too hot, and that failed. As you can see, like, I am sweating. It is already about 85 degrees out here. Oh, it's gonna be a hot one today, and it's super early in the morning. So I want to get everything harvested. I have my swimsuit on. I'm getting ready to go to my parents' house. I'm gonna spend this hot day in the pool, and then we're gonna be working with this stuff later. But I just want to get everything harvested. It is better to harvest everything in the morning before the sun really hits it. The earlier you can get it, the better. Ideally, I would have hit this about 3 hours ago. I didn't know it was gonna get this hot today. But once the sun hits it, it starts kind of dehydrating those sugars or evaporating that water that's in the fruit, and it's not as sweet. Hi y'all, Ed and Caitlin here. I just wanted to clarify some of the concepts I was talking about when it comes to when you should be harvesting some of your food. There are two different times you should harvest, and it depends on what you're harvesting. If you're harvesting something sweeter like berries, your carrots, your peas, your broccoli, all of those things should be, hi Monroe, should be harvested in the morning. The reason being, the earlier you harvest it before the sun hits it, it keeps a lot of its sugars, it keeps a lot of its water content. It doesn't have the chance for the sun to kind of evaporate it and dry it out. So things like tomatoes, peppers, zucchini, we want to harvest in the late afternoon when the sun has been hitting it all day. The reason being, by that sun hitting that fruit, it's dehydrating a lot of that water, which is really concentrating the sugars, and that's what's making for a really flavorful tomato, really flavorful zucchini, really flavorful pepper. You know, all of those things that we don't want to be sweet, we don't want to be watery, we want those concentrated flavors. We want to let the sun hit them. What item you're harvesting, and then what time of the day you pick. So things like my broccoli, my peas, my cabbage, my carrots, my beets, all of those things where I want them to be nice and juicy, I want to harvest in the morning before the sun hits. Things like my tomatoes, especially. Your tomatoes, you don't want them to be watery. You want to allow the sun to kind of sit on those tomatoes, evaporate a lot of that water, so you really have the sugar just kind of concentrated, and it just makes for a juicier, sweeter tomato. So it really depends on what you're harvesting, but I wanted to make that clearer before we proceeded on with this video. So now I'll get you back to the vlog. So the earlier you can harvest, the better. So I have a whole bunch of peas to harvest, and I did a test. Let's see. Guys, it is very sunny out. I apologize. It's just where the sun is this early in the morning. It's just what it is. But I have a whole bunch of peas I want to harvest, and I did an experiment 2 days ago where I blanched some peas and then I froze them to see if I can save this harvest, because right now I'm really eating these basically just because I have them. They're one of my favorite vegetables. I love them, and I would love to have them throughout the season when I actually want them. Ed and Caitlin, I think one more time. I'm not trying to do this every single video, but I did just test the snap peas that I froze. I tested them today, and I took them straight from the freezer to the toaster oven or the oven, and they actually tasted really good. They weren't quite as crispy as they would have been, you know, straight from the garden, but that's to be expected. But I'm very happy with how they tasted and how they held up. So they've been frozen at this point for almost a week. It's been about a week since I filmed this video. So they've been frozen for about a week. So my plan is to, I just refroze 2 more batches of peas, and I'm gonna use them throughout the summer. I'm not planning on keeping them through the winter because I don't think their structure and their integrity is gonna hold up. But I do firmly believe, and I'm now a staunch advocate, that if you can't eat them all now, because I was getting a massive bumper crop, too many for me to eat all at once, that freezing them can at least prolong them for a couple of weeks. I might do an experiment, and I don't know about this, to see how long I can get like one bag to last. If I can get like one bag to last into like December, we'll see about that. But for right now, freezing peas, at least for a short term, is doable. It definitely works. Just blanch them first and then freeze them. Right now I have zucchini coming in. Oh, there's a little spider. Hi, little Spidey. Oops, bye-bye, little Spidey. I don't like spiders at all, but I will say when they're on my garden stuff, I'm okay with it. So what I was saying is I took a lot of these peas and I blanched them and froze them. They're like falling over on themselves. And I'm gonna get some out today. And I'm gonna cook them like I always do. Just roast them in the oven with some garlic salt and stuff. And I'm gonna see how they do, because I have a whole bunch of peas still in the fridge. So if they cook up nicely, then I'm gonna freeze a lot of these peas. And then I can eat them throughout the rest of the summer when peas aren't coming in. I have a ton of zucchini coming in right now, so I've been eating zucchini almost every night. That's another one. I think that actually tops peas, is zucchini. And zucchini you can't really freeze. I can shred, and I do. I shred zucchini and I preserve it that way in the freezer for like zucchini breads and stuff. But just for like fresh eating, you can't really preserve it too well. Oh look, we have our first little itty bitty green bean. How fun. How fun. I don't think he's quite ready, but that's fun. Okay. Since he's like laid over on himself, it's hard to see where all the peas are. Gotta just kind of dig a little bit. I wanted to keep tying him up and he just got away from me. Everything has kind of gotten away from me. And that's what happens every single year. My garden becomes a little bit of a jungle, but it's just a jungle of food, so I don't really mind it too much. And I think this guy is just about done producing. We're on the tail end. I didn't get near as many as I got last time I harvested. So I think I might be on the tail end of this. But we did it. I got a huge crop this year. I've never gotten this many peas. So I'm really, really happy with what we did. I am going to start some more for the fall, so I can hopefully have some peas in the fall. But like, look at this guy. Look how pretty he is. Oh, beautiful. It's like a little game almost, trying to find where all the peas are. And this is why I think kids would be great in the garden, because you can kind of tell them, okay, who can get the most peas from this jumbled up pea plant? Who can find the most garlics in the ground? You know, like who could find the most of anything? And just make it a fun game. I think it would be so fun. I would enjoy it, so sign me up. This side still has some peas that are on the smaller side, so they're not quite ready yet. Got another harvest, a decent harvest on this side, because there's a good amount of peas on this side. I think we've picked, oops, nope, one more. Now I think we've picked everything we can pick today. We don't have too many flowers yet, so I do think we are on the tail end of this harvest. So let's take it back in and see everything we've gotten. So we got a decent pea harvest, not as many as I've gotten before, but I think I got a nice handful, and like our first little green bean, not quite ready. Get them all out of here. Put them in a bowl. Oh, I have a bowl. So this is definitely like 1 or 2 meals of peas. I love it. I'm so excited. Ooh. We got a nice handful of peas. Last time I went out to harvest peas though, I filled up this whole container with peas. This whole container was filled with peas. So I did about half of them. I froze. So tonight when we get back from the pool, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna pull some of them out that I froze, see how they taste, see if they held up their consistency. And then we are going to potentially freeze some more of these guys. And then I wash when I eat, right before I eat, so. And there's something, with my food, there's nothing on it, you know, aside from, you know, maybe some dirt on the lettuces and stuff, but these guys are clean. All that could be on them is bugs. So I do wash them for bugs, but dirt-wise, I'm not really worried about it. But look at the broccoli harvest. That is a massive basket of broccoli. So I'm super excited. So I think I might actually take this up to the house with me and make my mom help me work with this broccoli. What I'm gonna do is I'm going to blanch and freeze some of it. I'm not gonna do all of it. For dinner, I think for dinner tonight, I'm gonna make a Pampered Chef pizza. It's not pizza, but I call it pizza. It's my version of a pizza. Fun fact about me is I actually really don't like traditional pizza. I'm actually not a red sauce person at all. So I'm not a big pizza fan. And growing up, every time you went to a party, everybody, like a kid's party, everybody just had pizza. And I'm very tired of pizza. So this is my version of pizza, which is not at all like pizza. So stick with me. Tonight when I get home, we're gonna make that pizza. And we're gonna do the snap peas. And then we're also going to freeze some cheddar cheese. I talked in my last video about how I bought a whole bunch of cheddar cheese blocks. And I was gonna test it in the fridge, in the freezer to see if it froze. And when I defrosted it, how it was. And I froze it for almost 24 hours and it defrosted perfectly. Tasted great. It wasn't gross. It didn't look wet or mushy or anything like that. It defrosted beautifully. So I'm gonna get some of my cheese, shred it up. I'm gonna get that in the freezer tonight. So yeah, so it is currently 9 a.m. And I am very hot. It is hot outside today. So I'm gonna actually I don't know. I need to decide if I'm taking this up and have my mom help me blanch it. No, I probably not. That's probably too much. That's probably too much broccoli to make her help me with, right? Probably. For the record, she would not have cared an iota if I had brought that up, but I wanted us to have a pool day and just relax, so I decided to leave it at home. Anywho, I'm gonna go put this in the fridge, I guess, and then we'll work with this tonight as well. So I'm gonna keep some out for fresh eating, both for my pizza and like for cooking throughout the week, because I honestly haven't eaten too much of my broccoli fresh. I've really been focusing on putting it in the freezer. But I think this is a really good head start, so I really think I can keep a couple of heads out to have for some fresh eating and then throw the rest in the freezer. So stick with me and I'll be back in a little bit to do the pizza. Hi friends, I'm back from the pool. I had a very nice day at the pool. I was in the pool for about a couple hours, I read a nice book, and then the storm came. So I came home a little earlier than I had planned, but that's okay because we got lots of stuff to do today. I did spend the last probably half an hour outside tying up my tomatoes. I didn't intend to do that, it just kind of happened. Isn't always how it goes. You tend to grab something quick from the garden. I wanted to grab some zucchini I knew was out there and ended up tying up tomatoes. But now we are back with our initial plan. So I'm going to be just using my food processor and shredding my cheddar cheese up. So let's see how this goes. And I could hand shred it, but this is so much faster. And like I said, I did test this and it froze really well. So I'm gonna get a whole bunch shredded and then I'm just gonna put it on a cookie sheet and do a nice, I'll honestly do a nice solid freeze on it. And with cheese, it doesn't take long to freeze or defrost. So, yeah. I'm gonna do a nice solid freeze on it and I'm gonna bag it up into quart baggies. And I am gonna do it on this, each bag is gonna be on the smaller side just because I don't want it to get moldy. This Aldi's cheese I really like. I don't know if I'm actually accurate in my thought process or not. I need to do research on it. But this cheese molds a lot faster than other varieties of cheese, than other cheddar cheeses. So in my mind, that means it's less preservatives on it. Again, I don't know if that's accurate or not, but in my head, it sounds right. So cheese is just one thing that I want to put in my freezers, especially if it's gonna freeze really well. I want to put it in my freezers just because I do expect the price of cheese to go up, and I'm just trying to save myself some money. Inflation is just gonna hit everybody hard. I'm just trying to do the best that I can. So that was about 3 8-ounce blocks of cheese. And they made these long, beautiful shreds. And I do prefer to buy the blocks of cheese just because there is a preservative that is put on shredded cheese that keeps it from clumping. And again, I just don't want the preservatives, you know? Okay. So I have that nice and laid out. It is thicker than what I would like it to be, but I think that'll be okay. Kind of make it like a little fluffy. And I'm gonna go put this in the freezer for, I don't know, we're gonna try an hour and we'll see what happens. I think today is just gonna be hang in the kitchen with me and get all of my chores done, kind of a video. So one thing I do hate is my kitchen is super small. I don't have a ton of counter space, so it doesn't take much. It just takes a regular working day or an activity to make my counters just look awful. So this is July 4th weekend, and tomorrow I have a July 4th party that I'm going to, and I need to take a dessert. I always make a Jell-O cake, and it is always met with rave reviews. I think I'm basically required to take this Jell-O cake. But I went to the grocery store yesterday, and we had an ice cream party at work. So I bought sprinkles, just like rainbow colored sprinkles. And this is the silly part about me. I do have red, white, and blue sprinkles, you know, for July 4th. But I want to use the rainbow sprinkles. So I was just inspired by rainbow sprinkles. I thought they would just look so fun. So I'm going to make a Jell-O cake cupcake with sprinkles on the frosting. I just think that would be really cute and really pretty. If you're new here, I try to do everything myself. I really prefer to do as much as I can myself, and that includes my cake mixes. So one of the things about box cake mixes are they're so convenient. You open the box, you add an egg, you add some oil, and you're ready to go. Well, regular homemade cake mixes are just as easy. So what I like to do is I like to make 2 boxers or 2 jars at once. And then when I need one, I just dump it into a bowl. And all I need to add to this is vegetable oil, milk, 3 eggs, and vanilla. And this is a homemade cake mix ready to go. So I really like that aspect. So you can see my other white cake mix, I have 2 jars of everything. 2 jars of brownie mix, 2 jars of chocolate, white, spice cake, you get the drill. So once I'm done with this, I'm gonna give this guy a wash, and then these are gonna get refilled. And this is just a simple, quick way. I measure out the cake ingredients once, and I have 2 cakes ready to go. It's cheaper than the boxed mixes, and it tastes better too. So let's go ahead and get this guy turned into a cake. So I have the oven preheated at 375, and on my jars, I have the label on the front, and on the back, I have a list of the dry ingredients and the wet ingredients. So it just makes this super easy to do. And this is just a old, actually, well, this jar is a quart jar, but I like to save like old spaghetti sauce jars. If my parents get spaghetti sauce or anything in jars, I like to save them, and they're really great to use for items like this. That way you're not using your cannon jars. So this mix here is 1 3/4 cup flour, 1 3/4 cup sugar, 2 teaspoons baking powder, and 1 teaspoon of salt. Oh. To my dry mix, I'm gonna add 2/3 cup of vegetable oil. 3 eggs. And then you should add a splash of vanilla. I'm out of vanilla. I'm currently making some up there, but it's not near ready yet. So we're just gonna go without the vanilla. At this point, I'm gonna bake it just like regular cupcakes. It's after the cake comes out and has cooled a bit that I add the Jell-O to it. So this is actually getting to be a little thicker than I like, so I'm gonna add some more milk. Okay, my cheddar cheese has been in the freezer for about 2 hours, I'd say. And it's as frozen as it's gonna get. It still stays pretty, doesn't get like rock solid, but you gotta move quickly because this will defrost quickly. So I'm just putting it into Ziploc baggies, just sandwich baggies, because I don't want a ton because it does mold for me sometimes quicker than I can use it. So I'm gonna do Ziploc baggies, and then I'm gonna throw all the Ziploc baggies into one big freezer bag. That way I just have to pull one big bag out, and not have multiple bags kind of floating around in the freezer. In all honesty, depending on what I'm doing, if I'm having a salad, I'll just need a little bit of this. If I'm making macaroni and cheese, I might need a couple baggies, and I'm honestly okay with that. I think I'd rather have it in smaller portions, depending on what I'm using it for, than like getting a big old portion out and kind of having it go bad before I can use it all. So I think this is fine. And that worked out pretty close. So I did 3 sticks or 3 blocks, each 8 ounces, and I got 4 sandwich bags. So there's like a 3/4 of a block in each bag. I'm just gonna throw these back in the freezer and get this tray loaded up with some more cheese. Hi friends, it is the next morning. I was going to do the Jell-O for these cakes last night and realized I didn't have any Jell-O. So I had to run out this morning and get some Jell-O. And my party starts at 2, it is 11. So I'm hoping everything is gonna be okay here. We're just gonna plow ahead. I don't think Jell-O takes that long to set, right? It doesn't take that long. So normally I do this in a big cake dish, and so you just take a fork and kind of, plunge it all over the cake. Because I did cupcakes, I put the cupcakes in a pan just in case it got a little messy. And I'm trying not to like dig out the cake itself. Some of the cake is coming out, but that's okay. And I'm just taking a fork and I'm just poking holes in the cake. You just want to make areas for the Jell-O to pour into. And then I'm going to put these in the fridge and they're going to set while I make the icing. So I have 1 packet here of, this is bringing out a lot of cake, but it's my snack, right? It's bringing out, I have 1 pack of strawberry Jell-O. Maybe I should have been using a toothpick instead of a fork. The cake is a little moist. The cake tastes really good. It's a really moist cake. I grabbed the toothpick. Oh, the toothpick worked much better. Use a toothpick, not a fork. The fork definitely chewed up the cupcake a little bit. Like some of them are good and messy. But that's okay. We're gonna cover the icing. No one will ever know. So you just want to get lots of holes. Make sure like you're not going to the bottom of the cupcake just because you don't want the Jell-O like sitting on the cupcake wrapper, because that'll just be messy when you open it. 1 packet of strawberry Jell-O. You can use any kind of Jell-O you want. One year I did strawberry and blueberry Jell-O together, and that worked I think that worked pretty neat. I remember that working pretty neat. So I'm just going to, there's really no nice way to do this without being messy. So I'm just taking a spoon, and that's why I have them in these containers, so that when I make a mess, it's like contained, you know? I'm just putting like 2 spoonfuls on each cupcake. And this also, so this cake is super moist as it is, but this also just makes such a moist cupcake. Moist cake, cupcake, you know. I think Jell-O cakes were really popular, I think in the 80s, I think. And the first time I made one, I remember I got made fun of for making a Jell-O cake, like a Jell-O poke cake. And I'm like, guys, have you tried it? And they're like, no, we haven't tried it. Well, then they tried it and then realized it's delicious. So the dress I'm wearing, I just bought at Kohl's about an hour ago. I had a completely different outfit on for my party today. It was a blue shirt with like July 4th shorts, so it was super July 4th-y. And then I saw this dress, and I'm like, oh, that dress is super cute. So I got the dress, and now I'm just trying desperately to not get Jello on the dress. And that is 1,000% something I would do. Buy something, put it on, and then immediately stain it. So we're gonna do our best to not do that. I think we have them all nice, so I'm going to just put these guys, put this in the fridge somewhere without spilling it. And then these guys, which are lightly pink now, are gonna go in my fridge. I think I have to put them in my outside fridge. So I'm gonna go run them to my outside fridge, and they're gonna sit until I ice them, and I'll probably make the icing around like 1 o'clock. Hi friends, it is again the next day. This video I think is just dragging out as long as it possibly can. But we are finally ready to make the pizza that I'm gonna make today. It's a fresh vegetable pizza. It's actually a paper chef recipe. I'm gonna talk about it in a second, but I didn't bring you guys along when I made the icing for the cupcakes. The first beginning of this video was we were making the Jello cupcakes, and then I kind of ran out of time and had to get the icing made real quick before my party. But it was real simple. All I did is in a bowl with my mixer, I did cream cheese, 1 block of cream cheese, about half a cup of confectioner sugar, and then I used some of the strawberry dust that we made. We dehydrated some strawberries, and I just sprinkled some of that in. If you had vanilla, add vanilla too, but I'm out of vanilla. And they were delicious. I got a lot of compliments on them, and a lot of people were asking what was in the icing. I'm like, it's the dehydrated strawberries, so I think that was definitely a good way to go. And they turned out so cute. I was so happy with the sprinkles on top. I just think they look super, super cute. This one, the icing, it got a little wonky. By the end, I was using a paper chef tool. It's this thing, and you can put a tip on the end. Let me see. Yeah, I had a tip on the end, and I was using this guy to pipe my ice in. And by the end, I just didn't care. So these ones I left for me, and the icing is just a little, it's just thrown on there, but they tasted really good. So that strawberry dust was definitely a game changer. I have a good little bit left. I honestly probably only used a spoonful in the icing. It didn't take very much at all, and it gave it that really pretty, I don't know if it showed up on camera, really pretty like red specks through it. It didn't dye the icing pink. It just gave it some really pretty red flecks through it. So strawberry dust, I love all about it. So for our pizza, that's what we're making right now. It is not dinner time yet, but I want to get this started because we're going to make the crust. Then the crust is going to cool. And this is actually something that you serve cold. And what I love about this pizza is I love to make, oops, they're ready to go. I love to make it with whatever is coming out of the garden. So right now I'm going to do broccoli and some green onions. I bought a cauliflower because I don't have my own cauliflower. And it's gonna be so good. You can put tomatoes on it. We're gonna do some onions. So I'm gonna go pick an onion from the garden because my onions are almost ready. Well, not almost ready, but they're getting nice and big. I got some that are quite big. So all I'm doing is I have a crescent roll. I'm actually gonna do two, one for me and one for my mom, but I have a pack of crescent rolls, and I'm just getting that out on a sheet tray. I just rolled it out, and all those lines where you're supposed to tear apart for the crescents, I'm just kind of pushing them together. Just sealing it so we have a nice bottom crust to work with. So I like to do a couple different pizzas this way. This one here with the broccoli and the cream cheese and cauliflower is my favorite one. But especially now that we have our zucchini coming in, I love to make a zucchini arugula pizza. And it's the same type of crust. I do this crust on the bottom, or you can use a regular pizza crust. I do a delicious cream cheese. This one I actually had. I do a delicious cream cheese white sauce that we put on top. Put some zucchini. I love to use my pickled red onions or my onion jam. Onion jam is so good. So do So then I make my crust, I put my white sauce on it, and I just slice some zucchini real thin, put that over top, put some of our onion jam on top, drizzle it or sprinkle it with some Parmesan cheese, and then bake it. When it comes to the oven, I drizzle some balsamic glaze over the top of it, and then top it with a lightly dressed lemon arugula salad. So just take some arugula, give a real quick lemon olive oil dressing, and then pile that on top of the pizza. And you have the hot pizza, which is savory from that balsamic glaze, crunchy with that zucchini, and then the bright lemon arugula pepperiness of the salad is very, very good. So that's one of my other favorite ways to make a crescent roll pizza. So I'm gonna actually do two of these guys, but I'm gonna do one at a time. I just have them all closed up. Now I'm gonna take a fork and I'm just gonna pepper or poke all throughout the crust. Because this is puff pastry, not puff pastry, it is crescent rolls. I don't want it to get too puffy. And so I've given it some pokes that allows the steam to come out so it doesn't get super puffy. And then you just bake this according to directions. So I have oven set at 350, and I'm gonna bake it for about 10 minutes. So I'm gonna bake both of these, and I'm gonna put them in the fridge and let them cool down completely before I move on to the next step. I just finished chopping up my veggies. So for me, I really like broccoli, cauliflower, and onion. If you had tomatoes coming in, I would throw in some tomatoes. You could throw in some peppers, whatever you have. But for me, the only thing I didn't grow is cauliflower. I struggle to grow cauliflower no matter how hard I try. I've not been successful. So I'm trying it one more time this year. I'm gonna try it in the fall and see if I can grow it. But it's my broccoli and my onion, so I think that's exciting. And then I'm also gonna, I think, put some snap peas on top of it as well. But I got everything chopped up. You can put it in the food processor so it gets smaller. I always do the big chunks, and I always, as I'm eating, I think to myself, Caitlin, you made these chunks too big, you gotta make it smaller, and I never do. I don't know why, I just never do. So I'm starting with an 8-ounce block of cream cheese that I honestly should have had out before this. It needs to be kind of at room temperature, but I'm gonna make it work. So I'm just gonna break up the cream cheese, and then we're gonna add some mayonnaise, some ranch powder, and some cheddar cheese. And that is all that this meal takes. That's the dressing, basically, or the sauce for the pizza. Got it. Not in a big old block anymore. It's at least a little pounded. I just whipped up some fresh mayonnaise. If you are not using, or if you are not making your own mayonnaise yet, you should start now. It is so cheap to make, and it's so much better than store-bought mayonnaise. So much better. The next ingredient you need is just some ranch powder. So I did just about 3 tablespoons of mayonnaise, and it really just depends on how creamy you like it. I really like a creamy crust or a creamy sauce. And then I'm just gonna add some ranch. This is a Pampered Chef ranch mix, but I do have the ingredients to make ranch powder when I run out of this. So ranch is not something that's hard to make on your own. So once this is gone, I'm going to make my own ranch powder. And then I'm just making a mesh right now. Just get it all kind of combined. And then I'm gonna take my pizza crust, which it broke a little bit, and that's okay, not a problem. And once I kind of have this all combined, I'm just gonna spread this on my pizza crust, or on my crescent rolls that's acting like a pizza crust. The next thing I'm gonna do is just take some cheese. I'm gonna use cheddar cheese, but you can use whatever kind you like. And I'm just gonna shred some cheddar cheese just on top because, you know, you need more cheese. You have cream cheese, but you need more. I'm only gonna do a little bit. Top it with our veggies. So I just wanna get them all kind of combined. Get them all tossed together. And then I like to pack it pretty heavily. I thought that was going to be enough veggies for my mom's pizza too, and it was not, so I'm going to cut some more. But I'm going to wait for her cream cheese to soften a little bit because it was not fun spreading that not room temperature cream cheese. And so for me, that's where I'm going to leave it. I was going to add some snap peas. Let's see the snap peas. I was going to add some snap peas, but I don't think I'm going to now. I think I just love these guys roasted, so I think I'm just going to roast these for maybe dinner tomorrow night. But I got some fresh corn from the farmer's market, so I'm going to microwave some corn, get some corn ready to eat, and then this is what I'm going to have for my dinner. So I harvested this broccoli 3 days ago, and I'm finally getting to make the pizza that I wanted when I harvested it on Friday morning. It's Sunday today, day before July 4th. And so I'm going to enjoy this meal. So I hope you guys are having a great holiday weekend. Thank you guys for joining me in the kitchen and in the garden, and I'll see you guys on the next video.